The following self-regulation formative questionnaire was created by research collaboration at the University of Canvas. It is freely distributed, and we have adapted it to work in Canvas. The self-regulation formative questionnaire measures a student's perceived level of proficiency in 4 essential components of self-regulation. So, plan for and articulate what you want to accomplish. Immediately monitor progress and interference regarding your goal. Control change by implementing specific strategies when things are not going as planned. And reflection or reflect on what worked and what you can do better next time. In order to clearly demonstrate the benefits of this survey in Canvas, I'm going to work backwards so that you can decide if you need this type of survey for your class. Notice it is a Likert scale survey. First, I will demonstrate the results that you can use with your departments, colleagues, and evaluators. Next, I will demonstrate how a student uses it, which is kind of like I just demoed here. And finally, I will show you how to make the questions in a Canvas survey that produce these results and ease of use for your students. So let's start with the results. Notice here in Canvas, I have 4 question categories: plan, monitor, control, and reflect. And so under plan, there are actually 5 questions. And if you'll notice here, I'm able to look at plan number 1, which is I plan out projects that I want to complete. And you can see that 10 respondents said strongly like me, 6 respondents said like me, 7 respondents said somewhat like me, and so on. And the nice thing here is if I click on plan 3, which is sentence 3, you'll notice that the bar changes and the results are very clearly set up for you to understand. As some of the questions are negative in response, such as number 5, I have trouble making plans to help me reach my goals. Okay, well, if you have trouble and you're a planner, it would be more not like me, right? Or strongly not like me. So for each category, there is 1 question. For monitor, there's 1 question with 6 responses, and so on. Okay, well, if you like those results, and you're still with me, let's see how the student interacts with these Likert scale questions. You'll notice that I'm demoing the student interface right here. After each question, for example, question 3, I do what it takes to get my homework done on time. The student simply chooses strongly like me, somewhat like me, not like me, strongly not like me. Faculty have said they like the Likert scale model to better evaluate the types of students that are in their class and what they need to do in order to teach that particular class. So these types of surveys could be beneficial and given throughout the term. It could be given after a project, when students might be more realistic about assessing their skills. It could be given at the beginning of a semester. You could compare it at different points in time. And it can be done anonymously also. And our sample is anonymously. So they just simply choose, very straightforward. Notice that they see question 3 and not the category. I did that on purpose so that they wouldn't know, for example, that this is how do I monitor versus, how do I keep track of things and plan, etc. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. It's a nice, easy interface, has a drop-down arrow, and I'm going to demonstrate how you make these questions next. But the 2 goals here are, if you like the results you're getting and the ease of interface, then you'll want to continue to see how to build a question like this for a quiz that you might want to create, or a question you might want to use on a test. So how does one design the actual question in Canvas to get the results and the student interface? Let's take a look at the question design. First, you'll notice I have only 4 questions. I have a plan question, a monitor question, a control question, and a reflect question, the 4 themes in the survey. Remember I said the students don't see those words because I don't want them to think about planning, monitoring, controlling, and reflecting when they're self-evaluating. Each one of these questions is the type of called multiple drop-down. Okay, so let me edit one of the questions. I'll click on Plan. And you'll notice that the type of question here is multiple drop-downs. You'll notice that there's a table, and the purpose of the table is just to frame the statements and the answers to make it very organized. You don't have to have a table, but it sure makes it easy. You'll notice that each question answer response is framed by brackets. So notice it's square bracket plan 1, closed square bracket plan 2, closed square bracket. Okay. And then down below in that particular question, each plan 1, plan 2, each response has its possible answers. This is where it got a little tedious, I'm not going to lie. I had to type in strongly like me, somewhat like me, not like me, strongly like me each time. And that was a little bit of work. However, now that it's in here, I can reuse this and just change the question. So there are a lot of things that can be done much quicker after the first structural attempt. And that's what you do. You put your Likert responses in. Okay? When you're done with a question, just as a quick reminder, always remember to choose Update Question. I can't remember how many times I've forgotten to click Update Question and it does not get saved. And then at the very bottom of your quiz, remember to choose Save Question. Okay? So that's basically what the question will look like. And if you were to preview it, once again, remember when you preview it, it's going to say question 1, question 2, and I could, randomly put these questions in here. Students have choices, and you're going to get those fine results at the end that are nice to display with colleagues, evaluators, and you're making use of Canvas evaluation tools. Well, before I go, I want to express and detail the details in the quiz. So when you create a Canvas quiz, you can make it of quiz type survey. So some people don't know this, that if you just choose the quiz type, you can choose graded survey or ungraded survey. I think you guys know how I feel about that. If you put a graded survey in there, they have a higher chance of doing it and they get easy points. You can make it anonymous. Okay, so down here you can choose Keep Submissions Anonymous. Now I know I said it was an anonymous survey, but this is a copy of the survey I was working on earlier, so I forgot to check that box. Give it a small point value. You could shuffle answers, but because it's a Likert scale question, I don't know if you really want to do that. And I would also make sure that you let students see their quiz responses. So when they're done, they can see this is how I said, this is how I reflected upon myself. But don't check these other boxes because these other boxes will confuse the student. So just check the first one. If you have questions about that, please feel free to contact me. Okay. Obviously you sign it, give it a date, etc. Save everything and you'll be fine. Once again, this is the Self-Regulation Formative Questionnaire. I am going to distribute this in our faculty hub. I'm going to most likely put it into Commons, but you can contact me for more information on that. You can use this in your course today. You can download a copy of this and edit the questions to what you would like the questions to be. You can reuse this any way that you see fit that will help you create surveys for your students. And if you're trying to figure out how to make things anonymous and trying to make them so you know who the student is who's taking the survey, that's totally up to you for different purposes. Some faculty are using this as a survey of their class. Okay, my name is Matthew Moore. I work at Ventura College. I'm an instructional designer technologist. And before I go, I just wanted to thank the microbiology department at Ventura College for getting this idea started. Dr. Garner needed some input on a survey, and this was an inspirational resource to develop this way, and it's a nice thing to share with the rest of the faculty. So I hope it helps you in better understanding your students and gives you feedback in online, hybrid, or web enhanced classes. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.